It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you for joining us dead early on this fabulous Friday. I'm Mark Daniels, your host for today.
And I am Philippa Bodine, your guest host for today.
Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, Philippa. It's such a pleasure having you with us this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here this early, darn early in the morning.
Yeah, we can get it today.
Oh, that early.
Yeah, so Philippa, how does it feel to be here on set? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Really?
Yeah, let our viewers know a little bit about who's sitting there at the table.
Well, Mark, can I start by saying, like what I told you a bit earlier, when I stepped into studio and I saw where you recorded, I was like, oh, yeah, excited. This studio, how y'all work your magic in this small space.
This is where the magic happens.
Yes, but it's warm, it's welcoming. Everybody is very jovial.
Good.
You too.
Yay.
And very good conversationalist. A little bit about myself. I am a mother of one, also the wife of one.
That's a good thing.
Yes, it's a wonderful thing. I am also a transformational speaker. I am a counselor as well.
All right.
I am an educator as well. Anything else?
And she from Elutra.
Hello, how did I forget the pineapple country?
Good old pineapple blood.
Hello, somebody.
So we're so happy you're joining us this morning. Love your energy, and it's going to be a great show. We're so happy to have
Thank
you with
you,
us.
Mark.
Today we're going to find out about the day of the International Day of Older Persons in our Bridging the Gap segment, and we're also going to be talking with Dr. Sean Knowles as we discuss mental health and suicide awareness.
We'll talk to Wild Bahamas about Migratory Birds Day. And Bodine Victoria is going to be here performing her new song, Maintenance Fee.
Get that fee
What
ready.
you, Mark, what you know about maintenance fee?
I was a married man before, sure. I know about the maintenance fee.
Okay, but first let's check on the weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Philippa, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. And good morning, Bahamas. In your first look at weather at sunrise, we do have a quasi-stationary formal boundary across Exuma, Cat Islands, and Salvo this morning. A low pressure formed is now moving towards the northeast, away from the islands, and so we can expect some more showers and thunderstorms as a result of that into Saturday, even maybe Sunday. Any weather day, variable cloudiness with a few scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Some of those showers may be heavier times or thunderstorms severe times. Your high temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, we're looking at cloudy on the little cool side. Still a chance of some showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the northwest and central Bahamas. The low temperature going down to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And some region highs and lows across the Caribbean. Barbados, 86 and 78. In Jamaica, 87 and 77. In Trinidad, 89 and 75. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 85 and 73. Across North America, Atlanta, 70 and 42. In Raleigh, 67 and 40. In Miami, 82 and 70. Dallas, Texas, 88 and 63. and Toronto, Canada, 56 and 52. As you go to the weekend, that frontal boundary will continue to trigger off some showers and thunderstorms, high pressure bills by late Sunday into Monday across the islands. So, sort of will be that weekend, not a rain out, but you can expect some more sunshine beginning of the week, though temperature daytime will be in the mid-80s, at nighttime in the lower 70s. With that puts a wrap on your first look at weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Philippa.
So the push-to-talk device is a beautiful device. It operates on our world-class cellular network. You can take pictures, you can take videos, you can put your persons in different groups. If they want the engineering team to have a different communication than the finance team or the security team, you can do that with the push-to-talk device. That's not something that you can actually do with a regular communications radio device. We have several different types of devices. There's the 380, the 580 plus, and then there's the 590 plus, which is the top of the line device.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. It's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Welcome back. International Day of Older Persons is observed each year October 1st, and it is a time to raise awareness about issues affecting the elderly. Here to discuss this with us is Leslie Taylor, Trainee Welfare Officer in the Senior Citizens Division of the Ministry of Social Services and Urban Renewal. Good morning, Leslie, and welcome
morning.
to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, Ms. Parker. Good morning, Bahamas.
So,
Yes.
Leslie, tell us, why is October 1st celebrated as International Day of Older Persons?
The United Nations decided and voted for October 1st to be considered to celebrate National Older Persons Month. Actually, it didn't in 1990. In 1991 was when they internationally celebrated it. And in 1997 is when the Bahamas joined forces and started to assist and celebrate with older persons. Currently, it used to be one day, which was the first. And we did one day, then we did a week, and now we celebrate the entire month of October.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Because I was wondering, if it starts on October 1st and we're like on the 21st of October, why are we now interviewing you? But now I understand.
Internationally, it was just the first.
Right.
But now we do
And
the
celebrate
entire
the
month.
entire month.
Yeah.
And that is wonderful. So the theme this year is the resilience of older people in a changing world.
Yes.
More specifically, the resilience and the contributions that older women are making. Why this theme?
It was chosen to raise awareness, but all the women has contributed. Also, it was to educate and rewrite policies regarding older women. Also, to remind us of the significant role that older women has played.
Wonderful. So, with that being said, can you specifically name some of give an example or give us an example or two where you've had older women contribute to our Bahamian community?
Yes, right off the top, you consider the grandparents in the COVID time. Just recently, persons had to remove back. I mean, and it's just a simple thing, move back home with their children, and the grandparents had to rear those children and take care of their children who was at home. So you see here where women are just about doing everything that they can do in terms of support their family. They're the glue,
that keeps the
family going. And act like with our grandparents, they made something out of nothing.
Yes.
You understand?
Wonderful.
So,
so you caused me to remember my grandparents, even my great-grandparents. I've been fortunate enough to have my great-grandparents around. So we have women, elderly women, older women who are contributing to their communities, to their families. So they're service, they're given a service.
Yes.
But what are the services that the Department of Social Services and Urban Renewal offer very specifically to older persons throughout the Bahamas?
Well, they can get every service, particularly in the community support center. Then they can get food, which is called a permanent food assistance.
Okay.
That's food every month if they need it. And then they can get furniture, they can receive housing, rental, financial assistance for medical, health medical. Then they can receive depends. They can receive beds, medical beds. And then for disability, because remember the elderly disability, they can get various things in terms of the wheelchair free. These things are free. And so all services that the department offer, they can receive as an elderly person.
Yeah, that's wonderful to know that this is available to them, because we often, I've read, the WHO in 2018 said that about 1 in 6 older persons experience some form of abuse in community settings, right? Neglect as well. And the Bahamas is no different when it comes to these statistics. It may not be the same, may be underreported, but we know that they need our support, they need our assistance.
Yeah.
That one, I want to lead into the question of what acts do we currently have in our country that provides the needs for and protects our older people?
Currently, Ms. Parker, we do not have an act. However, we have drafted one.
Great.
And it's currently being revised.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But it's urgently needed. And back to what you're saying, in terms of abuse, the elderly are being abused, they're financially, emotionally, psychologically. And so, we need some policy for legal protection for them. Yes.
Right, that's correct. Okay, so what is important for us as a nation, as a community, a small island nation, to understand about caring for people, older people who are in our lives? What is it that you want us to know? If there's one thing that you could leave with us today, what do you want to say to the Bahamas?
I want to say currently we have a lot of persons experiencing Alzheimer's, and the family don't understand how it works, and so it becomes a problem. So sometimes they get abused. So I would like to know, I would tell the general public, if you have someone like that in your home, seek information on how to care for them. That's very important because we have a lot of that. Persons just putting them in the home, not even trying to assist or care for them.
Do you know of, or can you share with us one place, such place people can actually go to get information about Alzheimer's?
Yes, Alzheimer's or how to care, you can call
Yes.
the Senior Citizens Division.
And what's the number? Do you
At
mind
3,
sharing?
yes, 376-3530.
Okay, one more time.
376-3530.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for joining us at Bahamas at Sunrise, Ms. Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing and raising awareness of what some of the issues are that older persons in our community are facing as we celebrate International Day, month of older persons in our country. Thank you for your service
You're
to the
welcome.
older persons in our community
Thank you
as
so
well.
much. You're welcome.
We'll be right back after the break.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Since 1967, Freeport Oil Company Limited has been dedicated to fueling growth and prosperity in the Bahamas. We have been a constant pillar within the country, striving to invest and support our community through the best of times and the worst of times. For us, Full Call represents 21 years of strength and consistency, consistent leadership, consistent growth, consistent customer service. Through it all, we are resilient. Full Call, fueling growth for people.
What do you want from a cloud solution? You want flexibility and edge? You want to modernize applications with the ability to deliver new ones with lightning speed. You want an infrastructure that's automated, secure, cost-effective, and scalable. You want to give the end user the freedom they want with the control you need. You can't get all that from just any cloud. You need something better. You need Bahamas Cloud. Contact the experts today at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
One thing, two things, blue thing, old things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Welcome back. We were deeply saddened to hear about the news last week of an apparent suicide of a 20-year-old man. This follows another, possibly 3 events that happened in the past few months, and we want to talk this morning about mental health and especially suicide intervention. Here to talk with us this morning about this is Dr. Sean Knowles, physician and co-CEO of Emmanuel Medical Center. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back face to face.
Yes, yes. The last time we spoke, it was virtual, yes. And so it's great to be here in studio with you, talking about a very serious issue that not everyone gives a lot of attention to. Yeah. We're talking about mental health and suicide intervention amongst men. So tell us, is there a certain type of person who is more susceptible to suicidal tendencies, or can it affect anyone?
Well, I want to say essentially it can affect anyone, but the decision to end one's life is a very complex one. At the heart of it all is the fact that people want their pain to end. And in fact, based on the research that we know globally, 80% of the times people who would have ended their lives, they just wanted their pain to end, and they would have given signals about it. And so when we talk about emotional pain, depression is high on the list, major depressive disorder, such that essentially in high-income countries, 50% of persons who would have committed suicide had a diagnosis of major depressive disorder at the time of their death. And so it definitely underscores the importance of us having topics and talking about mental health and getting people to get the help that they need, especially as it relates to depression.
How do suicidal thoughts plague adolescents?
When we talk about adolescence, and again, I always want to give research. So, you know, in terms of suicide attempts, for every one successful suicide for persons ages 15 to 25, there can be anywhere from 100 to 200.
Wow.
And so our adolescent population, they go through a lot of issues, such as breakups and maybe family turmoil. Bullying is very high on that list as well. And so when they don't know how to cope or how to deal with these issues, they think that suicide is the only answer. But essentially, it's a permanent solution to temporary problems.
And you know, a lot of people think that, oh, young people ain't got no problems, man. You only got no bills to pay. All you gotta do is just go to school, you get your lunch money, and life is easy. But they, like other people along their life, will have issues that sometimes seem insurmountable. And like you said, they are looking for a way to end the pain. What are some of the warning signs that someone might be suicidal?
Well, there are a number of warning signs. What I'm seeing here, particularly in the Bahamas, is persons who feel that there's no hope. In addition to that, and I want the Bahamas to hear me, amongst our male population is anger, aggression. And when I do a suicide or depression screen on that individual, and that can be anyone who's in their teens all the way up to grandpa who's in the 70s, they're scoring very high in depression. In our female population, I see a lot of cutting, self-cutting, cutting of the wrists, cutting of the thighs. Certainly increased substance use disorders, such as you know, marijuana use, cocaine, definitely alcohol, and just having a negative view of oneself.
So we said earlier that there were a few recent cases of suicide, which were all men. What's the burden that men bear that may lead us to this point that the public, or let's say our female counterparts, may not understand?
Yeah. So first of all, my condolences to those who would have lost their family members by suicide. So we men are a high-risk group. One thing that I say that's playing a major role in that is the fact that we've been culturalized to not be able to talk about our feelings, which is utter rubbish, and I'm actually begging our Bahamian population, our mothers, our aunts and godmothers, to start having your sons and daughters talk about their feelings. So we are a high-risk group, and when a man makes up in his mind that he's going to end his life, he's going to make sure that that happens by the most lethal means. And the number one means of how we commit suicide in the Bahamas is hanging. In addition to that, increased substance use increases the likelihood of a person acting on those thoughts and fulfilling the act of committing suicide.
You know, much like what we said about adolescence, there is a burden that men bear. If you have a family, if you have a wife, you have other responsibilities, your business, your social life. And as you said, it's not always easy for us to speak out. And whether it's we've never been taught how to speak, we don't know who to speak to, or we just see it as a sign of weakness. But I agree with you 100% that it's only through, you know, connecting and communicating with persons that you can find possibly a way to help you and see that there is hope, right? And that we're not in a hopeless situation. Is there still a stigma regarding mental health issues here in the Bahamas?
Oh goodness, so resounding yes. It's like every day is a battle I'm trying to fight. With stigma, you know, of course, that's persons having negative views about a distinguishing characteristic, and in this case, mental health, mental illness. And unfortunately, stigma leads to discrimination, and of course, it causes people not to get the help that they need. And so the number one weapon to fight stigma is education. And that's what I try to do on a daily basis, educate people about mental illness and the importance of getting help for it.
Yeah, and once again, we don't take that seriously. You know, in the workplace, we don't understand that mental health is important for our daily functioning and productivity, and companies should recognize that. In the home, once again, you know, we may not recognize the signs that there is an issue that needs to be addressed, or that somebody just needs to talk to someone, as we said earlier. How do we speak to our children about mental health and our young men about getting help?
Well, first thing I want to say is start from young. Start having that relationship with them from when they're young, where they can develop that trust to talk to you about anything. So parents, teachers, and in the case of our adolescents who are working, you know, supervisors, they're at the forefront of being able to recognize and see any change in our adolescent population. And if you recognize something is happening, take the time to talk to that person. Get them the help that they need if you're not able to get resolution by talking with them. So that may mean that you may have to seek a psychologist or a physician or psychiatrist to be able to help them with their issues. And you touched on the workplace, and I think it's extremely crucial now that we, at least once a year minimum, have someone come in to talk to your employees about mental health so that they have avenues to get the help that they need. So many people are hurting silently. And if we don't do anything about this now, we're going to have a major public health crisis. Right now, the suicide stat seems to be that we're having 1 suicide a month. Wow. And you're absolutely right, it is our male population.
Wow. If there's someone watching the show today who may be having suicidal thoughts or they're deep in depression and they feel there is no hope, what do you want to say to them this morning?
I want to say there is hope. It's a matter of just reaching out to someone that you trust. That may be a family member, a friend, a physician, a pastor, a priest. So I'm begging you, if you are feeling that way under the sound of my voice, just seek help. And let's give you the help that you need, because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, suicide is a permanent solution to temporary problems. Your problems can change. It will not always be this way.
I love that. If somebody wants to reach out to Emmanuel Medical Center to speak to you or any of the other physicians there, how do they get in contact with you?
A very easy number, 393-WELL. 393-WELL, 393-9355 or 58. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that people may have about this topic.
Well, we appreciate you being on the show again, Dr. Knowles. We're here talking about mental health and suicide intervention. We have to look out for our young men, our old men, all of our men, our whole population. But definitely, as you mentioned, we do have an issue here in the country that we need to address. And once again, men, don't be afraid to reach out. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of ultimate strength, that you're taking your life and your health in your hands. And what they don't realize is that, the problem does go on even if you commit suicide, because you leave your family behind. Absolutely. You leave friends behind and loved ones behind, and that's never a good situation. No. So thank you again, Dr. Knowles, for giving us some perspective and putting out a lifeline there for those who are in need. Thanks for joining us this morning. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
So the push-to-talk device is a beautiful device. It operates on our world-class cellular network. You can take pictures, you can take videos, you can put your persons in different groups. If they want the engineering team to have a different communication than the finance team or the security team, you can do that with the push-to-talk device. That's not something that you can actually do with a regular communications radio device. We have several different types of devices. There's the 380, the 580 plus, and then there's the 590 plus, which is the top of the line device.
Welcome back. We are here at the mid-show here on Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you for joining us dead early. I'm Mark Daniels, and I have Philippa Dean with me as our guest host for today. And we just finished the first half of the show. So Philippa, how did it go?
It was wonderful. I had the opportunity to interview Ms. Leslie Taylor from the Senior Citizens Division of Social Services and Urban Renewal. And she was just sharing with us how important it is for us to, not just on a single day, but throughout our lives, to honor the older persons in our lives and to raise awareness of some of the issues these older people in our communities face and how we can support them through it.
Like Grammy say, respect your elders.
Or else.
You get the switch, right? And I had a great conversation with Dr. Knowles. We were talking about mental health, suicide intervention. And what many people may not realize is that we have an issue in this country where men may not feel the ability to reach out for help. They might feel that there's no hope and get caught up in a cycle of depression and anger.
Yeah.
But we're telling you that there is hope.
Always
Reach
hope.
out and find someone that you trust, someone that you love. Because as he said, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And we ain't into that. So reach out for help, and we're here for you at Bahamas at Sunrise and also at Emmanuel Medical Center.
Yes, agreed.
And we've got a second half of the show to talk about. It's going to be so exciting. Scott Johnson with Wild Bahamas is here to talk about International Migratory Birds Day.
Okay, and Bodine Victoria, the coconut goddess, is going to be shaking stuff up in the studio by performing her newest song, Maintenance Fee. But just before then, we're going to take a second look at the weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Philip, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather sunrise, the tropics remain quiet, and the tropical cyclone formation expected during the next 5 days. On local scene, quasi-station from the boundary now have a area of low pressure formed along it over the north of the islands, and that will trigger off some showers and thunderstorms, particularly over the central and southeastern islands over the next couple of days. In the marine forecast today, those winds north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Sea 2 to 4 for the northwest Bahamas. Those winds falling light and variable at times, variable at 10 knots or less. Seas 1 to 3 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Saturday, they continue north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Sea 2 to 4 feet of the northwest Bahamas, falling light and variable at times. And northeast to east at 10 knots or less. Seas less than 3 feet over the southeastern islands. On Sunday, north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Sea 2 to 4 for the northwest Bahamas. Northeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a low tide 11:35 this morning. Your next high tide will be at 5:54 this evening. High gain tomorrow, low gain tomorrow morning at 5 minutes past midnight. Sunset will be at 6:36 this evening. Rising more at 7:11. UV index 8. Your water temperature 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Honeymoon phase last quarter. As you go to the weekend, still have that quasi-station frontal boundary, trigger off some pockets of showers and thunderstorms, not a rain out, but we're looking at variable cloudy through Sunday with a chance of a few afternoon showers and thunderstorms. But by Monday, high builds across the island, partly sunny skies during the week time, though temperature daytime will be in the mid-80s, at nighttime in the lower 70s. That puts you up in your phone. Look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Philippa.
Thanks, Godfrey. The coconut goddess, Victoria, Bodine Victoria is in the house with us today, and she, along with Grammy Award-winning Rick Carey, teamed up to create another show-stopping, spectacular hit record, Maintenance Fee, and she is here to perform that for us today. Bodine joins us now. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, Bodine. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Good morning, Philippa, and I've already told you how I feel about this outfit today.
Hey.
I love it. It's giving island. It's giving tropical. It's giving happiness.
Hello.
It's giving Friday.
And I know you're all about community and culture, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Hello.
So you're about that life. Thank you very much, ma'am.
So, Bodine, tell us, you've won an Elevation Award for the Female Artist of the Year. Tell the Bahamas why or what you love about performing.
Performing gives me an opportunity to share the culture of the Bahamas through music, and I get to put history and those historical moments in a way that people can love, people can have a feeling of nostalgia about. Children can be introduced to the Bahamas of yesteryear, some of the African and the Bahamian traditions that we seem to be losing just a little bit. So I'm able to kind of repackage them and reproduce and represent them well for our audiences.
Yes, and even though you talk about culture and Bahamian culture, repackaging and presenting to us a new product that's exciting, right, and energetic, we know that you've graced international stage as well, and you've contributed on an international song, Cry On. How did that opportunity come about for you, and what was the experience like?
Well, as a Bahamas Masquerader ambassador, they funded me to go to South Carolina for South Carolina Carnival, where I opened for Patrice Roberts. And I met an artist named Sunshine P. That was almost 3 years ago. Then Sunshine called me earlier this year and said that Calypso Don, who is a Trinidadian, he has a record that he's putting together that is produced by SB1, who is an artist from the African nation of Burkina Faso.
Oh.
Yes, and so I'm the only Bahamian on that particular rhythm, which features Trinidad, UK representations, and that song, Cry On, is Afro beats, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, heartfelt record about love.
That's wonderful that you even mentioned that and Afro beats, because I want to ask you to tell us about the song Maintenance Fee, not the story behind the song. We want to know about the sound itself, where we have Gumbe meeting Afro beat.
Well, Gumbe is the sound of the Bahamas, which, you know, it encompasses the rake and scrape and the junkanoo. So both of them fall under Gumbe. And then you turn around and you have that international sound of Afro beats. The advantage of working with someone that is as legendary as Rick Carey and his dad, Pat Carey, who does the electric guitars on Maintenance Fee, is when I present him with an idea, he said, and I say, well, this is the direction. He has traveled enough and he is learned enough that he's able to hear the Bahamian in it. And then he's also able to integrate the influences that we are connected to through culture and the sounds of the world that go directly into the future.
That's wonderful. I'm happy that you have that type of support behind you. So Bodine, now we get to the story. You know everybody wants to know, what's the story behind this song, Maintenance Fee?
You know, when you're sitting down in the salon and you're talking with your friends, or you meet your new besties in the salon, and or you know, you are anywhere, the nail, anywhere women are gathered, you're on TikTok and you're listening to some of the stories. Dating in the Bahamas is hard. It's hard. Dating anywhere is hard. And so when you get to the point in a relationship where you decide, you know what, I like you, you like me, you let people know what your standards are for this. This song is about a woman telling a man, listen, I like you. You look like you might make some sense, but let me just make sure that you understand clearly. I take care of myself. I can do things myself, but I am not a strong, independent woman that don't need a man. I am a strong, independent woman who needs and wants a man. So if you want to be that man, let me just let you know, please take care to invest in this relationship.
Make the expectations clear from the get-go so that we're on the same page.
We got to be on the same page, because ain't no romance without finance.
And there you have it. That's the story behind Maintenance Fee. Bodine, I'm going to let you perform in just a moment. How can people get this song?
Believe it or not, Maintenance Fee is on all streaming platforms. Spotify, your Apple, your iTunes. If you want to go into karaoke, I have a YouTube playlist with the lyrics. So when you and your friends are out and y'all having a good time and you want karaoke, all of the songs that I have are on that playlist. You can enjoy that, and also you can purchase it. Follow me at Bodine Victoria across all your social media platforms, and also subscribe to my mailing list on bodinevictoria.com.
Hey, there you have it, and let's hear it for Maintenance Fee.
Pull this up. Now, ladies, y'all know sometimes it's real in the field, right? And so you have to set your expectations from the onset and make sure that you communicate clearly what life is about for you, right? And we go, hey, na, 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 na. Hey, na, 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 na. Hey, na, 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 na. He tell me he like that. He tell me he want that. When I tell him what he gonna need to get it, then bush crack. I tell him, hold on, hold it now right there. He tell me he see just what he like. He tell me he don't care. I say now, baby, you can have anything you like. I say now, baby, call me now morning, noon or night. let them know straight up. Cause sometimes these man will bamboozle you. He tell me he need it. He tell me he want it. I tell him don't try to pick it up if you cannot manage it. He say he ready right now. I say now suck, this ain't no circus and I don't do clowns, but I flexible. You can have anything you like. I say now baby, call me now morning, noon or night. You want access to my love, my time, my space and my energy. You can have anything you want, just pay that maintenance fee. All I hear is talking, but money go buy land. It ain't gonna be cheap, so keep that $40 in your hand. And if you neglect it, your line gonna get carried. Real man does do real things, so show me, baby, don't tell me. I say now, baby, you can have anything you like. I say now, baby, call me now morning, noon or night. You want access to my love, my time, my space and my energy. You can have anything you want, just pay that maintenance fee. That mortgage, that ain't free. Them car bills, that ain't cheap. Them grocery, that ain't free. I already do these things for me. The salon, that ain't free. This health insurance, that ain't cheap. That doctor bill, that ain't free. I already do these things for me. See, you like me because I look well maintained. Yes. And you look like a man who like good things. Hey, I want you to show me how that thing go. Make that debit card swing low. Show me you know Poppy show. You name man, yes I know. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. It's bodacious. Swing low, sweet debit card. Coming for to pay all my bills. I say now baby, you can have anything you like. I say now baby, call me now morning, noon or night. You want access to my love, my time, my space and my energy. You can have anything you want, just pay that maintenance fee. Baby, you can have anything you like. I say now baby, call me now morning, noon or night. You want access to my love, my time, my space and my energy. You can have anything you want, just pay that maintenance fee. Ladies, y'all don't get scammed on this road now. It's cuffing season. You make sure tell him you want gifts and you like your things. And if he take care of you, well, you gotta reciprocate. You can take care of him. This thing go with sense.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Since 1967, Freeport Oil Company Limited has been dedicated to fueling growth and prosperity in the Bahamas. We have been a constant pillar within the country, striving to invest and support our community through the best of times and the worst of times. For us, Full Call represents 21 years of strength and consistency, consistent leadership, consistent growth, consistent customer service. Through it all, we are resilient. Full Call, fueling growth for people.
Our menu, it's digital, so customers, once they come in, they have to scan the menu. Due to the space size, customers were unable to connect. It was unstable. Customers were very irate. They couldn't see what we offered, so sometimes we had customers that left. And now we don't have that issue. Customers are easily accessing the menu on the website. So now it's a smooth process and ordering is much easier. Installing the Euromesh was easy as 1, 2, 3.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Push to talk device is a beautiful device. It operates on our world-class cellular network. You can take pictures, you can take videos, you can put your persons in different groups. If they want the engineering team to have a different communication than the finance team or the security team, you can do that with the push to talk device. And that's not something that you can actually do with a regular communications radio device. We have several different types of devices. There's the 380, the 580 plus, and then there's the 590 plus, which is the top of the line device.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Welcome back. Guess what? The bird's the word. International Migratory Birds Day is being celebrated on October 22nd, which is tomorrow. Here to talk to us about that is Scott Johnson, wildlife biologist with Wild Bahamas. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, Scott.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
We're always excited to talk about Bahamian wildlife, and we've got the most qualified person in the house today, Brother Scott Johnson of Wild Bahamas. So thank you for joining us. So we're talking about birds today, and we're talking about International Migratory Bird Day. So tell us, what is the purpose of International Migratory Birds Day?
Well, this time of the year is a very important time of the year for birds. You have hundreds of millions of the Caribbean all the way down to South America. And during this time, we want to celebrate all of those birds that make that long trek. Some birds traveling tens of thousands of miles from the northern parts of North America down to the southern parts of South America. And so you're looking at some birds that live in the Bahamas, that migrate to the Bahamas, and they travel for thousands of miles. So we want to celebrate all those amazing species that come to the Bahamas and come to the West Indies and just make this their summer home. I mean, their winter home.
Right. So tell us about some of the species that are common migratory birds that will pass through the Bahamas this time of year.
Well, some species that you would see would be like a Swainson's thrush, which is a small thrush that looks similar to an ovenbird. Now, I don't have the pictures of these birds for you yet, but those are just some of them. Ovenbirds, more common birds that we see in the Bahamas would be a palm warbler. If you are looking in your yard, you see a tiny bird hopping on the ground, pumping its tail. Chances are that's a palm warbler. But then we have yellow-throated warblers. You have black-throated blue warblers, black-throated greens. You have a whole list of migratory birds that come. Most of the birds that have been recorded in the Bahamas, 50% are migratory.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have a very nice diversity. And the Bahamas, with regards to bird diversity in the West Indies, the Bahamas has one of the richest diverse places in the West Indies, with well over 330 species, of which, again, most of them are migratory.
So what is it about this time of year that causes the birds to pass through the Bahamas? Is it that winter is approaching? And what is it about the Bahamas? Are we just in the right spot for them to pass through?
We are actually in the right spot. Geologically and geographically, we just are along the Atlantic Flyway, which is a major route that birds take in order to go from North America to South America and back. And so we are smack inside that Atlantic flyway, so all these birds are coming down. And what makes the Bahamas so special, one, the warm climate, the large amounts of forest and vegetated areas that we still have, and it's just a perfect place for many species of birds to come to and interact with other species of birds.
As I'm sitting there listening to you, these winter birds that are coming over sounds a lot like our winter residents.
Yes, they are.
It's the right time of year.
Yep.
The Bahamas is in the right location.
Yep.
And they're flying from north and sometimes heading south. So
That's right.
Now I get it why tourists come to the Bahamas. The birds were our first tourists.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. So they fly for thousands of miles to and fro during the season. How do birds know when and where to migrate?
Now, that's a very good question. Birds use a bunch of cues to help them get to where they need to go. Some of them, birds use the sun. As the sun moves across the sky, that helps them to navigate. Birds use the stars to help them navigate. And birds also can use geographic spots or locations to help them know that, hey, I'm going in the right direction or not in the right direction. And this is where a problem lies. A problem lies when we have so much light. At night, we turn on all of our lights outside. If you look at the Bahamas at night, it's an explosion of light. As birds are migrating south, those lights can confuse them because now they're thinking, well, stars? Am I supposed to go this way now, that way? Yeah. And so that throws a lot of birds off cue. And so they're supposed to be traveling south, but they end up leaning more towards this way or leaning more towards that way. They can get disoriented. And a disoriented bird traveling for thousands of miles over time can get exhausted. And then you have the big skyscrapers. So they fly into the skyscrapers, these windows, and they get hit. And once they can suffer severe neurological effects from getting hit or from hitting a window, and they can die. Those are some of the threats that migratory birds face. And another threat would be, and a big threat would be, those house cats.
House cats, yeah. We all know we love our cats, but they can cause a lot of destruction for local wildlife. Birds, lizards, snakes all suffer at the hands of those furry things we call cats, right?
Yes.
So tell us, why are migratory birds important?
There are many reasons why migratory birds are important. A few would be, one, they help to get rid of a bunch of insects that can be pests to our agriculture, our crops, and stuff like that. As these hundreds of millions of birds are flying down south, and they're eating billions of insects, and so that helps us a bit to rids us of those insects and stuff like that. They add to our plant diversity. As a bird from the north stops over to eat some fruit, they eat, and as they fly to another island, they poop out the seeds. Those seeds germinate, and so that adds to the diversity. The 1,400 plus species of plants that we have in the Bahamas, a lot of them can be attributed to birds that have been migrating through the Bahamas, going south and coming up from north. And so, going back to an original question about why is the Bahamas so important, the Bahamas is also an important stopover site for many species of birds. They come, they stop, I need to eat, I need to replenish my energy, and then I jump back up in the air and I continue to fly south. And
So when the migratory birds pass through, how do they interact with our native birds? Is it a competition, or are they friends? Like, hey, welcome back, it's another year here in the Bahamas, or is there now a competition for resources?
It is going to be some competition for resources. For example, during the spring, when a bird called the gray kingbird, also the Bahamians know as fighter, when they come up, our native resident kingbird, the log-eared kingbird, tends to get a bit more quiet. And that's because they are competing for the same resources. So birds do compete with other birds for resources, but there's something that birds do which is called resource partitioning, in which many species of birds, they can occupy one tree, for example, but they can use different parts of the tree, thereby limiting the amount of competition that they have for resources.
What's the most rare migratory bird that we can see passing through the Bahamas that you would look out for that's like, that's the Loch Ness monster of migratory birds?
Wow, that is a very, very good question. We've had, on occasion, birds that came from Africa that flew to the Bahamas. How they got there, how they got lost, we don't really know. But we had a black kite from Africa and Eurasia that came down to Inagua Some of the birders in Inagua got photos of it, and this is a few years ago. But sometimes we get those weird birds that come from way off, off their migratory route, and that's some of the things that birders are very excited about when they go out and they say, "Hey, I see this really cool bird. Let me take some photos and stuff like that." So. Yeah.
So if some of our viewers are interested in birding, they've never been birding in their life. To them, a bird is just a tweet landing on a branch, right? So what type of opportunities are there for birding, and what areas, let's say here in New Providence, are ideal for observing migratory birds?
Okay, so when people think about birds, they often just shrug their shoulders and say, "Oh yeah, a bird. I don't care about that." But birding is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and if you have the right skills, you can capitalize on that industry, and you can make money, and that can help. That helps diversify the economy. That helps a whole lot of other things, and that helps with bird conservation. And so, on New Providence, places like the national parks, the Retreat Gardens is a great place. I've done a lot of research in the Retreat Gardens. We found over 70 species of birds in that one spot. Okay, so that place has high biodiversity. The national parks are great places for biodiversity. If you go over Paradise Island and you go to Lakeview, you can see a lot of cool species of birds. If you go out west, even down into the Wellfield areas where the pinelands are, you can see a few species of birds. They're all over the place, even in your neighborhood. If you just decide to go, you just walk down your neighborhood and you just go look around, you can find a bunch of species of birds as well. You can find over 30 or 40 species of birds in your neighborhood, especially during the migration season.
Well, it sounds like we need the eye for that, because I only can see pigeon and seagull, right? So if any of our viewers wanted to reach out to you for a birding excursion or to get some training on how to ID birds, how can they find Scott Johnson?
You can find me at scottswildbahamas@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook. You can find me on Wild Bahamas. You can send me a message, let's chat, let's talk a little bit about stuff. And I'm currently working on a few things so that I can continue to educate more and more Bahamians about Bahamian wildlife. So look out for that in the near future.
Perfect. Scott Johnson, wildlife biologist at Wild Bahamas. My good friend from a little bit of
Yay, way back then.
This man, he always knew all the names of all the dinosaurs in primary school. I mean, like the hard name, not the simple name. So I'm happy to see that you're continuing your passion, and you've trained so many people here in the Bahamas and educated so many of us about Bahamian wildlife. Continue to do the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Right. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, old things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
And that's going to do it for us today on another edition of Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you for joining us dead early on this fantastic Friday. It was a great show with my guest host, Philippa Dean. How did you enjoy it?
An exciting show.
An exciting show.
With our guest,
yes,
Bodine Victoria.
Oh, yeah, yes, that was awesome.
It was a wonderful show.
Don't forget to pay that maintenance fee, fellas.
If you can't manage it, don't pick it up.
Don't pick it up. So said, so done. Y'all enjoy your weekend. There's lots of good happening this weekend. The beach soccer competition is going on this weekend. We've got the food festival happening this weekend. Get out, get some sun on your face, go to the beach, and enjoy yourself. We'll see you on Monday.
That's all. That's a
That's
wrap.
all. See ya.